In 2013, the California State Legislature approved and Governor Jerry Brown signed into law a dramatic overhaul of the state's public school funding system. The new system is called the Local Control Funding Formula. Tied to 8 state priorities, the new system's main purpose is to ensure that every child in public school is prepared to succeed in college and in the workforce. The Local Control Funding Formula replaces a system that had not been changed in nearly 4 decades.
The old system was completely broken. You couldn't accomplish the goals that the state and locals want with this kind of a convoluted program.
The new system makes 4 big changes in the way public schools are funded. First, most of the funding will go to districts as base grants pegged to how many students are in attendance. A second key change is that the new system gives extra money to districts for high-need students, specifically low-income students, English language learners, and foster children. The more high-need students in a district, the more extra funding the district receives over its base grant.
You guys are doing great.
The governor presented local control funding formula to the legislature and the people of California as the way to fix inequality in our schools. Right now, we need to make sure that the governor's promise to those schools and students is fulfilled.
What I want to get out of the local control funding formula is to be able to come out of high school and be ready to go to the college that I want, because education is not a reward. Education is something you deserve.
The fact that the formula or the funding formula is now focused on the neediest students, that's huge. The majority of California's public school population are low-income, students of color, English learners. Everybody wins in California if they succeed.
The third change is that school districts will have increased control over how the money is spent.
I think probably the biggest game changer with this new funding formula is that it's so flexible and that it gives individual districts the power and ability to better meet the needs of every kid in the district, and that's a big deal.
The biggest challenge is we've given the locals a lot of authority and a lot of flexibility, and they have to allocate the money so that the pupils that receive it are the ones that are most in need.
That's really the critical issue that we're facing right now. And when districts get those dollars, what are the strong requirements and assurances that that money flows to students, both low-income students and English learners, in their schools and classrooms, and supports their learning and results in better outcomes?
The fourth big change in the funding system is that it requires school districts to have strong and open community involvement in their funding decisions, particularly from parents.
Good afternoon, folks.
So the voices around the table must be much more varied and robust than they typically are in the local budget process. Part of the responsibility is on the parents and the communities to get much more involved in their schools and their school budgets.
The change is significant because before it was kind of an ad hoc situation. Now it's built into the law, and therefore you need to really take serious your commitment to work with stakeholders.
Parents should get involved because this is a huge opportunity sitting in front of us to shift the way that California does education. Our job is to speak up for our kids, and that's it.
Overall, the local control funding formula places much greater power and authority in the hands of school districts to make the funding decisions that will give all students the greatest opportunity to succeed in school.
The districts will have to change their philosophy and operations and into the view that they're in the driver's seat and they're going to have to make this work.
That's, I think, one of the biggest things that we're facing right now is if we don't get this right, we're going to have a very hard time selling another investment, another really critically needed investment in our schools in the next few years.